Now, the very question stand is that from the exposition that was made by the Pept judge, that's the Presidential Election Tribunal judge, who is handling the case of the presidential election in court, Ngozi Azinge, made an exposition that a top SAN, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, is trying to bribe their way in so that they can turn against they can turn the case against whoever they want to. She didn't mention any party, whether it's APC, whether I don't know the party, but she didn't mention any party, and there's a pressure that is being mounted on her that she must expose the person so that they can deal with that person accordingly. So the question now is, will the lawyer or the SAN be exposed? But before we look into that one, let's talk about the potential surprise judgment by Presidential Election Petition Tribunal on Inec. Number one is that Inec chairman Mahmood likely to be sentenced to 2 years imprisonment without option or fine. This is the first thing that should be done. If at all the Labour Party wins this case, Mahmood should be going to 2 years in prison without fine. You know, we live in a country that does not arrest politicians and big people. The law is meant for the poor people. That's generally Africa. You don't see this kind of things happening in the Western countries. So we live in a country where generally the law only works for the poor people. That is why you keep hearing that they sentenced somebody to death, somebody was sentenced, and you see people who are stealing our money on daily basis. They are not yet sentenced. They are still allowed to handle the affairs of Nigeria. So number one is that INEC chairman Mahmood likely to be sentenced to 2 years in prison. That is the minimum sentence, because that man needs to rot in jail. Number two is that INEC neglected and refused to allow for the inspection, access and producing in court some election documents and materials sought by both Labour Party and PDP. They claim that Tinubu won the election. No argument, no doubt. Give us the statistics. They refused. Give us the statistics so that we can again, agree with your declaration that yes, we can agree with your declaration that these people you called out, these people that you announced by 4 o'clock a.m. that he won the election. Then they neglected and refused to allow for the inspection, access and producing in court some election documents and materials sought by the Labour Party. Now number three, the court unambiguously ordered INEC, including subpoenas, to avail certain materials and documents for inspection by the petitioners, which they did not. Hey, see, after all this case, after everything concerning this tribunal case, and P2B eventually wins, or whoever wins this case, if they ignore the fact that INEC chairman should be in jail, then Nigeria has no law. They should forget about it. Because whatever that is started must be finished the way it is started. No two ways about it. Whatever that is started must be finished accordingly. And number four, INEC failed to adhere to such orders of court and failed to show why it could not reasonably obey court orders in the regards, which we saw that Justice Samani was even scared of INEC. You see, one of the biggest mistakes that you can make in life is whenever you are handling something that is very tangible and you decide to collect bribe. I'm not saying that Justice Samani collected bribe, please. But from every body language that people make, you will get to see a message they are passing. In court, they told them severally, and even Mahmoud could not come to court because he feels too big. Of course, he's a big man. Who is going to arrest him? He has the country in his pocket. These are people who destroy the country and they move around. They move around freely. Nobody is attacking them. But let a poor man decide to do the same thing that Mahmoud, or even half of the thing that Mahmoud did, he will be stoned to death. That is Nigeria for you. Section 146, subsection 4 of the Electoral Act permit the court to sanction INEC for such refusal that include a jail time of 2 years without option or fine. There's no way Inec chairman can escape jail as part of this judgment. There's no way. Now, if we should look at section inspection of documents 146 subsection 1, an order for inspection of a polling document or any other document or packet in the custody of the Chief National Electoral Commissioner or any other officer of the commission may be made by an election tribunal or a court of competent jurisdiction if it is satisfied that the order required is for the purpose of instituting, maintaining, or defending an election petition. So it's in the law that they should make it available. Number 2, a document other than a document referred to in subsection 1 relating to an election and which is retained by the Chief National Electoral Commission or any other officer of the commission in accordance with the section shall be open for inspection on an order made by the election tribunal or the courts in exercise of its powers to compel the production of documents in legal proceedings. So whatever you are seeing in this subsection, I'm going to be posting it here. Whatever you are seeing here shows that Inec intentionally refused to produce what it is asked to produce, because they know that if they should produce their own results, which they claim that Tinubu won the election, from everything they produce, it will still prove that Tinubu did not win the election. So INEC chairman should be heading to minimum of 2 years imprisonment, not less than that. So now let's talk about what I exposed from the beginning. Ngozi Azenge, which is one of the judges who is presiding on this presidential election case, has exposed a top SAN bringing money. Of course, the SAN did not just bring the money to her. It's not his money. A politician might have arranged it and said, give it to them, share it to them. And probably some of the judge might have collected, while some who still have the conscience and the well-meaning of Nigeria has refused to collect the money. And she has vowed that whoever collects it on her behalf will not be able to see goodness in his life and that of his generation. We are faced with so many trials and temptations, and I must say, no matter the trials and temptations, we should not stop at any level. Allow these people rule over this case. Whatever be the case, this is not the time to give up. All eyes must be on judiciary, because every revelation we have here, every power we have here, if we do not win this case in courts, it's not going to be funny. I'm telling you, it's not going to be funny. So however be the case, we have a case in court and should do everything needful to make sure this case is worked. Thanks for supporting the Future News. Peace.
Everything against faiths are different. Our tech